So how do you break resistance within your clients, whether that be a hypnosis client or your coaching client that's resistant, not really to change, but resistant to the process of whatever it is that you're doing? And so let's talk about resistance and what it is. There's conscious resistance. Actually, there's many types of resistance. First of all, resistance to change, right? They don't want to change, but if they've already hired you and have invested and paid you for their transformation, then that's not the problem, right? We're talking about clients that you already have and have paid for your services. And when they have a session with you, they seem to have this wall of resistance, right? Of not really telling you what they need to be telling you, or there's just not they don't feel safe enough to open up. That is the type of resistance that we're talking about in this video. So it's not the resistance to change because they've already paid for you, which means that on some level, right, they are ready to get rid of the problem. Now, to the depth of how much they want to make that change is a different story, right? And this comes with this resistance part. There's really two main types of resistance. The first resistance is conscious resistance, and the second is unconscious resistance. The conscious resistance is more like, well, I don't know, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like I'm going to do it. It's very much ego based. It's very much like a front in your face egotistical type, like I don't want to change, right? Or, I don't want to go through with this, kind of more like a temper tantrum type thing, right? That type of resistance is the first one. And the second type of resistance, which I believe is slightly harder to shift, is unconscious resistance, which is not really talked about a lot in the coaching and hypnosis space. There's unconscious resistance to change, and this is a bit more challenging to determine with your clients because it is unconscious, right? Sometimes our clients will tell us that they really want to change, but they just don't know, or they seem to can't break the old sabotage patterns, let's say. They want to do it. They consciously don't have resistance to wanting to change, but somehow unconsciously there's resistance there. So how do you break these types of resistance, right? Let's talk about the first one, about the conscious resistance. Conscious resistance is when there's something like kind of immediate that their conscious mind is thinking, "Oh my God, something's going on. What is going on? I'm going to put this wall up or this shield or whatever it is." And usually that starts with this is especially more prominent if you're using hypnosis or NLP or any other techniques, even in coaching, because this is what happens. I'm the coach and I'm here. I have a script, or I'm reading off of this thing right now with a script of what I want to talk to my clients about. Like I'm doing this. I'm not really paying attention to my client because I'm reading a sheet of paper or some, cue cards over here. I'm not really paying attention to that. That tells your client that, well, something like that you've already started as the coach and that something is going to go on just unconsciously. That's unconscious resistance too that sends them on high alert, and sometimes they can consciously notice you if looking at a sheet, right? Or if you are in Zoom and you have like a Google sheet or a Microsoft Word document here with your script and you're looking here, you're clearly not paying attention to the client who's over here, you're just kind of looking here. They can tell, right? They can tell, and once that happens, that unconscious resistance, that conscious and unconscious resistance, but mostly conscious because they're actually seeing you not paying attention, that just builds their wall up because you've started, or you tell them, close your eyes, right? Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Let's try to relax you, even though deep down they feel nervous and anxious. You telling them to close their eyes when they're in that fight or flight stage is going to trigger actually both types of resistance. Um, because it lets them know that you've started. It lets them know that something is about to happen. And this is normal for all clients. Not, it's not just one difficult client that's going to do this. This is a human thing that we do, right? There's going to be resistance. It doesn't matter if we trust the coach already, if they trust you already, there's still going to be that defense mechanism of not feeling safe enough to open up with you because they can see that's something starting, right? So, how do you counteract this? Well, just pay attention to your client, right? Pay attention to your client and be present with your client when you're talking to them. And this goes for both conscious and unconscious resistance. Be present with your client. And instead of, reading stuff, like, do you need to do that? Instead of having a whole list of coaching client questions, do you need all that? You got to be honest with yourself as well. If you need all that, is reading a script really going to be the best thing for you and your clients? Because scripts and templates are a different video. There's something to do with that, because like, not everyone is going to be responsive with the same script. Like, that just doesn't make sense. The reason why, even though you're in the same niche, for example, if you're in a weight loss niche and then you have this script for weight loss, well, the reason why people don't lose weight or are not at the weight that they want is, the reason for each person is going to be different. And then putting the same type of things in there, although there maybe are going to be the similar themes, it's still not going to be the best for them, because it's putting that client in a box. And we don't like having that, right? We don't like that feeling of being put in a box. So when you do that with your clients, I mean, it makes sense that they're resistant, right? It makes sense that they don't want to relax, because they feel, consciously and unconsciously, that you've started that a process is happening that they're not really sure about. It might be dangerous. And when they feel dangerous or unsafe, resistance, right? So breaking them really is just all about being present with them. Instead of reading, instead of looking at all the questions, can you just ask them questions? Can you just maybe tell a story that you think are going to be the best for them, right? Can you find a way to work with them instead of putting them in a box? Because that's really how you're going to break resistance. And that's the one of the best ways that they can open up to you more, if they know that you're listening. I mean, you've had a friend before, right? Where, you've had this big problem and you felt really valued and seen, heard, and listened to, but they didn't have a script in front of them, or they didn't have a list of questions for you. They were just there for you, present. And using those basic human skills that we forget that we have, is just active listening, creating a safe space where you're not judging, right? And just really listening and validating their feelings, their emotions, their thoughts. That alone, those three things alone, if you can do that within your sessions, your client results are just going to be more impactful, and you'll break that resistance, because they'll feel like, once your client feels safe, and client feels safe when they know that you value them and you're listening to them, that is really what's going to help. Oh, like, I wouldn't say override, but that helps reduce the resistance that they have consciously and unconsciously, because they can feel that you're concerned, they can feel your understanding, they can feel the fact that you actually care about them, and that will help them to open up. When you come into a session without judgment, and just from a place of curiosity, instead of thinking that you know what's best for them, or thinking that you know better than them, then that creates resistance as well, right? So when you just come into your sessions without judgment, that will make a massive difference. That will reduce your resistance, and that will create better client results. And your clients are just going to love you for it, right? Because they enjoy that process of being valued and listened to. So I hope that helped. And if you have any questions, let me know. I will see you soon.